Before we begin, I want to say a few thank yous and then make some comments about some of the challenges that we'll face over the next 60 days. First, I want to express my gratitude to my wife. As you know, this is a very challenging job, not only to serve as Senate President, but to make the Senate presidency. And I'm very grateful for your love and your support, and I can never thank you enough for always being by my side. Thank you very much. Also with us today, and many of you know them well because they've been coming up here with us for the last 12 years. There's my parents. My mom and dad were special every single day. Unconditionally gave me love and support, even when I was always not at my best. And so I want to say thanks to my mom and dad, Ernie and George Haridopolos. By my side today is the person who was by my side 12 years ago. Those of us who served in the House of Representatives, the class of 2000, there's a man on my left, and I guess he's still there. But Mike Bennett has been a warrior in the House and now in the Senate. A person who served our country so well in the Vietnam conflict and now has served his community so well in Southwest Florida. And I am proud to have him by my side, along with his lovely wife, Dee, up here at the rostrum, sharing our final session together. Mike and I are with two people that make up the citizen legislature. And that's exactly what we are. We're a citizen legislature. Veterans, farmers, contractors, teachers, sheriffs, realtors, CEOs, dentists, bankers, entrepreneurs, and of course, lawyers. But each were empowered, lifted up by their community to serve the people of Florida in this special place known as the Florida Senate. Back in 2010, the voters sent us all a very clear message. Rein in government spending, reform broken entitlement programs, and create a pro-jobs agenda where jobs and opportunities can flourish. And for a change, govern as we campaigned and keep the campaign promises we made as we sought office. And what a difference a year makes. Just a year ago, we began. We faced a deteriorating situation. Our AAA credit rating was deemed negative. Unemployment rates were rising, and we faced a $4 billion budget shortfall. Rising long-term costs with Medicaid, with pensions, and a whole slew of programs that we didn't think we could afford. And we had a pill mill crisis, where our Attorney General would lead the fight to turn around families' lives. Facing these challenges, we went to work. And I know Senator Lawson is here, and he often would say, and I'll paraphrase, people will long forget what we said here, but people will always remember what we did here. And you sure did. You know, as I thought about these comments, as many of us enter our last session in the legislature, I thought long and hard about what I'd say. But I just kept on going back to the speeches and talks that we had at the starting session last year. I got to admit that the agenda that Don and I put together last year was one that I thought would take 2 years to accomplish. It was ambitious, to say the least. Medicaid reform, pension reform, K-12 education, pill mills, a budget shortfall. But I can't tell you how proud I am of this Senate and the honor that you've bestowed on me to lead this Senate as you've met those challenges head-on every step of the way in an open and transparent manner like never before. I recall when I asked Joe Negron to lead us on Medicaid, and he gave me a look. Why me? But I think we all saw Joe Negron, Senator Negron, rise to that challenge, working together with our friends across the aisle to solve a long-term budget problem. And we have put ourselves in a position where we are once again empowering patients and doctors and the state rights once again as we move towards solutions as opposed to playing politics. And in our K-12 system, I asked Steve Wise, after the governor's veto the previous year, to go around the state and listen to teachers, listen to administrators, listen to parents and students alike, and formulate a policy that we can be proud of in our K-12 system and reward the best teachers in our state. And I'm happy to report we passed that too. And with pill mills, for too long it had kind of been stuck in the mud. But fortunately we have the incredible new warrior to Tallahassee, and that was our Attorney General. And she and I believe strongly in the PDMP. This prescription drug monitoring program is important and will turn around people's lives. And once again, solutions and results follow. And the key is, you didn't talk, you acted. And that's what's so exciting about serving in the Florida legislature in these tumultuous times. Because when times are tough, people rise to the occasion. And you surely did. And what I'm most proud about is that you did it in an open forum, unafraid of the slings and arrows that might come when you took on these heavy burdens. And I'm grateful for that leadership. But with that said, I also want to signal out our leaders, Leader Gardner and Leader Rich. Those issues we faced last year together were not easy. But they handled themselves with class and distinction and always made the Senate proud. And for that, leaders, I applaud your efforts. Well done. But it's one thing to pass laws. It's a whole other to make sure the results come. And there will be a few critics. I wouldn't doubt that. But I'll tell you what, from a year ago, things have changed dramatically through your hard work. And whatever's written, what I care about is what has the marketplace said about our changes. Our unemployment rate has dipped from a high of 12% down to 10%. But in real terms, that means over 120,000 families, which almost a year ago faced unemployment, sorrow, sadness, and having to look into their son or daughter's eye and say, I don't have a job today. They're working again for Florida and lifting other people up. That's a real accomplishment. And that credit rating, it's kind of important today. Kind of took it for granted in the past. That credit rating, which a year ago had a negative outlook, now has a stable outlook. And it'll cost less to borrow money in the future to meet our needs. And law enforcement, led by our general, has been given new tools to take on this problem with pill mills. We've seen it firsthand in our home community. Some of our own friends face this because this is not the typical drug. And thanks to our law enforcement agents and the good work of people like Senator Pisano and others who pushed the idea of going after these pill mills, we're helping to turn around lives. And that's what matters. Turn around people's lives, and we have the power to do so. And finally, in my world of political science, where I've taught now for almost 20 years, the old saying that political scientists often say is, people vote with their feet. Well, guess what? 250,000 new people entered the state of Florida. They think this is the place to start a business, grow a family, and find new opportunities. But as our labors continue, way too many Floridians remain unemployed. Almost 1 million are waking up this morning looking for hope and opportunity. And what we need to continue to do is to provide economic climate change, creating a business climate to match our God-given natural environment. That will be our primary focus once again this year, and I'm glad we have a governor who focuses every single day on that effort. But to our work at hand, we have 2 constitutional mandates. A once-in-10-year opportunity with reapportionment and, of course, our budget. I must admit, as we went through the let's just say, debate on Amendments 5 and 6, I think we all recognize there would be severe challenges in meeting these new voter-approved mandates. But we took it in stride, and I am so grateful for the unwavering leadership of our incoming Senate President, Don Gates. Senator Gates followed a very successful formula. Listen before you talk. And he did a lot of listening. Just like we did with Medicaid and property taxes and even the budget. We listened to people first. And so Senator Gates set out with so many committee members in this room, in 26 town hall meetings across the state, and believe it or not every time did they agree with the good senator. But he listened and he learned and he made sure that everyone was included in this process. And we utilized technology so that everyone would truly have a voice. And after completing those 26 meetings, what did we do again? We had a series of meetings giving everyone the opportunity to actively participate in what can be a very tumultuous process. And I am proud to say that next week on this very floor, we will have the opportunity, hopefully with bipartisan support, to pass a reapportionment plan and respecting Amendments 5 and 6. And with that action, we will justify the early session. But let's go to the issue of the budget. Now, many may or might not know this, but Senator Alexander and I lived together. We're the original, I guess, unoriginal, odd couple. But this has been a challenging time. And I think, of course, Senator Alexander, first and foremost, deserves a big round of applause for the work he has done. For maybe like other senators, they sometimes seem to have a gruff exterior. But the senator and I spend a lot of time together. And when you cut a budget, like we did last year, by $4 billion, there are no easy choices. We all know special programs that we care deeply for that face the night. And JD and I would talk about it at length, the difficult choices that we would have to make, not just short-term, but long-term as well. And I'm not sure if he said it to you enough, but when we spoke often, late into the night, he would talk about the active participation of every single senator in this room. How you care deeply about education, about health care, transportation, and especially with the job situation, economic opportunity. And the time you spent and encourage him to find every single dollar available and to maximize every dollar in a very tight economy. And that will be our charge once again this year. Fortunately, the budget is not a $4 billion shortfall, but it could be likely a $2 billion shortfall. And that means programs that are beloved to each of us, if not individuals, will be on the cutting block once again. And so as we begin this budget process, I ask you to once again give the support that Senator Alexander desperately needs. Because this is a trying task in which we not only try to land the plane in this building, but across the hall as well. Back in November, I let it be known that I had grave concerns about the realities of the Revenue Estimating Conference. As I mentioned in my 12th session, I know that those revenue estimates are not always quite accurate. And especially as we begin early this year, we know that one of the biggest months of those 12 months is January. And those won't even be a part of the equation. But I'm not arrogant enough to be a one-way street. And so I will ask the senators in this room for their input on how we proceed. There is no doubt that we will start the process and continue to work with the allocations we expect to work with. But I want to know, and I want to hear from you before we make decisions down the road. Because it is not my Senate. It is our Senate. It is shared with the people of this state that gave us this opportunity to serve. And I want to make sure that when we make the final call on the important programs that might affect our courts, our education system, and our road systems and health care across this state, that we maximize every dollar to grow this economy and grow the minds of the people of this state and heal the sick and those in need. And it is the budget that is the ultimate policy document that we must be thorough and accurate and make sure we measure twice before we ever cut once. That is our charge over the next 60 days. And I'll be looking for your input in what direction you would like me to follow as we work with our friends across the hall. And so, friends, senators, family, let me say in closing a couple things. You have again been given a very daunting task, but I'm proud to have a group of friends like you, seeing you care every day for your community and your family and wanting to make a real, important, positive change in the lives of people across the state. I know in the one-on-one conversations that I've had with many of you across the years that you faced a lot of personal, financial, and other type of issues that have come up during that tenure. And the sacrifice you make in literally packing up your family for 60 days, packing up your business for 60 days, is a challenge. And I believe you're worthy of that challenge, as you proved again last year. And I'm confident that we can meet those challenges and produce the results that our friends and neighbors expect of us. You know, those of you who visit my office, and it's not hard, the doors are always open, you might see that something on the wall that's important to me. I teach history, and one of my favorite presidents is Theodore Roosevelt, a remarkable man, a person who dedicated his life to making America a special place. This is a plaque that I hold on my wall because it's important. And it talks about what really counts. And it says on that plaque, the man who really counts, or woman, in the world is the doer, not the mere critic, the person who actually does the work, even if roughly and imperfectly, not the man who only writes or talks about how it ought to be done. Senators, he talks about being in the arena. You are in that arena for a reason. God has placed you here to make a distinct difference in the lives of all Floridians. That is our charge. And I hope that in the next 60 days that we will be in this arena, handle ourselves in such a way that our constituents will be proud to send us up to Tallahassee to do the people's business. And so in closing I say, your community has lifted you up. Let us each be worthy of our title, Senator of the great state of Florida. Thank you very much.